Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. The first recipe that we are going to begin with is chocolate truffle cake. And before I begin this recipe, I want to tell you a little bit brief background why I chose this recipe. It's because when I was back in India, this was the most requested recipe. And also when I moved back to America, people always ask me if I can teach them or share them my recipes, but that time I just felt like I was not ready for it yet. So now that I'm finally ready and I feel like, yeah, I can make a chocolate truffle cake in front of you. So this is really exciting moment for me, and I'm really looking forward to sharing with you my recipe. So the first thing that I want to suggest to you guys is that I followed, like when I started baking, there were these three rules which I felt were important. So first rule is whatever utensils you use while preparing your cake, always remember to keep it clean. There shouldn't be any kind of moisture into it or oil or any kind of greasy thing. So it should be very clean and dry. The second rule that I feel is important, the measurement. So whatever measurement your recipe is suggested in cups, grams, ounces, always remember to take the exact measurement. The third rule is eggs, milk, butter. All these things which are refrigerated, always remember to get them at room temperature and then start your cakes. Now let's begin with the recipe.
So here are all the measured ingredients. Always remember to keep them in separate containers so that way it's easy for you to combine all together. So this is the flour, then there is this tin which I had greased completely. There are eggs, cocoa powder, sugar, milk, and then there is a baking powder. So what I do usually is I take the milk, which is 100 ml, and then add another 100 ml of oil into it. So all the wet ingredients we will combine together. So now I'm adding the vanilla essence extract, and this is done here. So now we'll take a clean bowl, and before that we'll take the flour and add the baking powder and baking soda into it and keep that aside. And then start preparing with 3 eggs in a clean bowl, and then with a hand beater you can just start mixing it.
Start adding sugar.
So this is how we need to get it, a pale yellow color, and then we'll add the wet ingredients into it, and then with the hand blender again start blending everything together. So now we'll take the flour, add our cocoa powder into it, mix everything together and keep aside. But remember, always sieve the flour and the cocoa powder and then use it. Keep that aside and then slowly add into the egg mixture. So at this point, you can start mixing it with your spatula with gentle hands. I started with the hand beater, but then I realized that all the powder, all the flour is just going here and there. And then I was like, no, it's better to mix with the spatula, because back in India, my machine at low speed was pretty low and it could just blend everything very nicely and smoothly. But anyways, that's fine. And last, you can just mix everything together and then pour it into the parchment lined tin. Tap it for a couple of times so that all the air bubbles just comes out, and then place it into your oven for about 40 to 50 minutes. So once it's baked completely, let it cool down overnight and then start decorating it. So as you can see here, I am cutting the top portion of the cake. So we'll do that first and then layer this cake into 3 portions. Now let's go ahead and make the truffle cream. Here I'm using 54% dark chocolate. You can use any dark chocolate that's available. And I'm using 500 grams of dark chocolate and adding 250 grams of heavy whipping cream into it. Now here I use this portion, but I would suggest you that you can take equal quantities if you're filling the cake with the truffle cream. That's why it's more soft at room temperature. You can use the same that I have used if you want a little more thicker consistency. Now you can see I have completely microwaved it, and this is the consistency, and you need to keep it overnight at room temperature so that it sets nicely. Then we'll go ahead and start assembling the cake. I add a little ganache on the base so that the cake sticks nicely. Then I'll go ahead and add the sugar syrup. Now sugar syrup that I use, basically it's 1 cup of sugar and 3 cups of water. It depends on how sweet you want the cake, but I would highly suggest you, the truffle cake is not supposed to be that sweet. And now you can see that I'm adding chocolate ganache to it. My consistency is a little thin because I used it immediately, but I would highly suggest you guys to use it. It's nice and thick. That way you have a control of adding more or less of ganache in between. But this works fine for me because I usually like very thin ganache filling. Now you can see this is the bottom portion of the cake because it's very smooth, so we'll keep that on the top of our cake. And now I'll just crumb coat the entire cake and then refrigerate it for 15-20 minutes, and then I'll put another coat of ganache to it. So here it's out from the refrigerator, and I want to show how when I put my fingers onto it, it's not sticking to me. That's how consistency we are looking for. And then you can see the ganache, how it starts setting. It's become more thick in consistency. That's what we are looking for. And then I'll put another layer to it. That way it gives you a really nice thick coating on top. So here I'm taking hot water and dipping my spatula into it, and then I will just remove the extra edges that you can see. My ganache has set really nicely, so you can see how I'm getting a little bit of like thick chocolate kind of thing coming out. But that's how I like it because that way I have more control over getting good edges on top. Now in a separate bowl, I took the ganache cream and added more heavy whipping cream to it because the final coating that I really want it to be shiny, and I want it to be like, dripping consistency. That's how I do it. I microwave it and then pour it on my cake and then cover the cake completely with this very thin and soft ganache coating. Now here you can leave at this point where you can see the drips are falling. It looks good, but if you don't want that and you just want to go ahead and completely cover it, you can do that, as you can see in my video. So then last, just go ahead and decorate with whatever toppings you like. I just had some Oreos and chocolate, so I just decorated with that. You can only just go ahead and decorate with chocolate. So this is the final look, guys, and it looks yummy. I absolutely love chocolate truffle cake, and this is more like an Indian pastry style. I really want you guys to try this cake and let me know how do you feel about it. And do like and subscribe to my channel because I'll be posting more such recipes. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. Allah Hafiz.